The narcissistic spectrum. Is everyone a narcissist? In some ways, yes. In other ways, absolutely not. The truth is that narcissism exists on a spectrum. A spectrum simply means there are many degrees of the same thing. Think of it like a line. On one end is healthy self-esteem. On the other is severe pathological narcissism. Most of us fall somewhere in between. Our culture loves labels. We often call someone a narcissist because they post too many selfies, seem arrogant, or enjoy being the center of attention. But the real psychological condition that causes lasting harm to people's lives is very different from these everyday behaviors. At the healthy end of the spectrum, people have genuine self-esteem. They feel confident in themselves while still caring about others. They can admit when they're wrong, accept criticism, and don't depend on constant praise or validation to feel worthy. Many people fall somewhere in the middle, where everyday narcissistic traits occasionally appear. You might become self-absorbed at times, dominate a conversation, or seek attention more than usual. However, you are still capable of empathy, can feel guilt when you hurt someone, and are able to apologize. In that sense, occasional narcissistic behavior is simply part of being human. The focus of this series, however, is on extreme narcissism. This is very different from ordinary self-centeredness. Extreme narcissists are not simply absorbed in themselves. They can cause significant harm to the people around them, whether in relationships, families, or the workplace. It is estimated that they make up about 5% of the population. At the most severe end of the spectrum is Narcissistic Personality Disorder, or NPD, which is the clinical diagnosis recognized by mental health professionals. According to the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, DSM, a person must display at least 5 out of 9 specific traits to receive this diagnosis. However, only about 1% of the population meets the full diagnostic criteria. That means there are many people with severe narcissistic traits who may not qualify for the diagnosis, but can still cause serious harm to those around them. What separates everyday narcissism from extreme narcissism comes down to 2 key differences. First, the extreme narcissist's inflated sense of self-importance is a defense rather than genuine confidence. Their grand image is built to hide deep feelings of shame, which is why they constantly seek admiration and validation from others. Second, their lack of empathy is far more profound. While an ordinary person may sometimes be self-centered, they are still capable of caring deeply about the people they love. An extreme narcissist, by contrast, may come to view other people primarily as objects to be used in maintaining their own self-image. If roughly 5% of the population has extreme narcissistic traits, that means about 1 in every 20 people you meet may fall into this category. It could be someone in your extended family, a coworker, a former partner, or someone you admire. They do not wear labels identifying themselves. In fact, they often appear charming, charismatic, successful, and well-liked. Yet beneath that outward image, they may be capable of causing tremendous emotional harm before the people around them fully understand what is happening. The most important lesson to remember is that the person who always seems overly confident, refuses to admit a mistake, or consistently makes others feel small may not simply be arrogant. According to this psychological perspective, they may be running from a terrifying, deeply buried belief that they are defective, fraudulent, and fundamentally worthless. To summarize, narcissism exists on a spectrum, and most of us display occasional narcissistic traits from time to time. That's a normal part of being human. However, extreme narcissists, who make up about 5% of the population, are different. They may not meet the full criteria for narcissistic personality disorder, but they share the same 2 core traits. They are driven by unconscious shame and use other people to prop up their false self. Just because someone isn't diagnosed with NPD doesn't mean they aren't harming you. Extreme narcissists hide in plain sight, and they can be anywhere.